Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios. My name's Marc Farzetta. We're going to have some fine locker room sound for you. We're going to recap the 41-21 loss at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys. You know, maybe we'll have some laughs along the way. Maybe we'll actually get your day started with some funsies, right? Maybe we'll enjoy. Maybe we'll enjoy. No? Okay, I didn't think so. All right. Nick Sirianni's in over his head. At the conclusion of doing the post-game show last night with Devin Caney, who's been on the show, Derek Gunn, who's been on the show a bunch of times, talking to Lane Johnson from the locker room, John McMullen, who was there on the site, Jeff Skversky, who was down there from 6ABC also. Like talking to those guys, I went into it with a really bad feeling. And I'm sure a lot of you turned off the game at some point, even if you stuck it out till the end. I'm sure you had a really bad feeling about the game. My bad feeling really started at the 1st and goal from the 1 against San Francisco 49ers. That's where my bad feeling started because it was just a series of bad calls by Nick Sirianni. First-time head coach, first-time play caller. And it was also bleeding into this game a little bit because I noticed you didn't have two of your offensive linemen, your starting offensive linemen in this game against the Cowboys. Yet it seemed like, even though they didn't have possession of the ball a lot in that first half, even let's go with the first quarter, it seemed like you weren't going to be running the football a lot. You didn't really see Miles Sanders get a touch. You didn't really see even Jalen Hurts take off on what was a designed run for your quarterback. There were multiple times throughout that first half, especially the first quarter, we thought, this team is not prepared. You're within the first scripted 15 plays or what have you, and you're not prepared. Is it the game plan? Is it the quarterback not being able to play in a big atmosphere like a Dallas Cowboy game on Monday Night Football at AT&T Stadium in his home state of Texas? Like, is that getting to the quarterback in this scenario? I don't think so. I mean, he played at Alabama, played at Oklahoma, some pretty big programs. And yes, I know it's college, even more to the point because he's younger, not as much experience, huge sold-out stadiums, a lot of pressure, people living and dying by what he does. This is nothing new to guys that are from the SEC. So if it wasn't an SEC guy, I'd say, oh, yeah, the moment got to him. I don't think it was that at all. I look at this loss, and this is difficult to do after the starting quarterback of this football team threw 2 interceptions. One was just a horrendous throw by him where he did not put the ball in the end zone like he was supposed to Jalen Reagor on that deep ball. The second, he telegraphed the pass, but his receiver also fell down. He telegraphed the pass, which is what Diggs jumped the route and was able to pick off that ball and go with the pick six. But in a game where he threw 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick six, I still look at the head coach as the main reason they lost this game. For the life of me. I mean, Andy Reid and Doug Peterson are probably sitting back watching that game last night going, I think they should run the ball a little bit more. And both those guys, especially Andy Reid, were the first guys ever to just abandon the run as soon as humanly possible. At least they abandoned the run, meaning they actually ran the ball at some point. Nick Sirianni did not even abandon the run last night because in order to abandon something, you have to have it or at least be with it at some point during the game. And he didn't even do that. And going into this game, I had said yesterday that Nick Sirianni was going to be the number one guy I was looking at in this game. How was he going to bounce back as a play caller, as a head coach, game plan guy, putting the game plan together? How was he going to bounce back? Epic fail by the Eagles head coach. 3 games into this, I can't help but look at the guy on the sideline and say, this guy is way in over his head. How else are you supposed, what else are you supposed to pull from a game where 2 of your starters are not on your offensive line and your first thought is pass. Let these guys, let these offensive linemen, let Landon Dickerson, let Andre Dillard get into a rhythm. Let your quarterback not have to worry so much that he's going to have to carry the team. Oh, you said after the game that you wanted to make sure that you had these guys keeping up with the Dallas Cowboy offense. You don't have what it takes to keep up with an offense that's clicking at home the way that offense was clicking. So why not at least try to keep your defense off the field, keep their offense off the field, and run the football? And again, how do you not do that considering the injuries you already had on the offensive line, and you go into halftime with Miles Sanders with 2 carries. 2 carries. Katie Gainwell didn't have any carries. Boston Scott didn't have any carries. Not at the half. And your only runs going into the half were the 2 by Miles Sanders, which, what do you know? It was a 24-yard game when he handed him the football. It's pretty amazing. And then after that, it was Jalen Hurts. Your first official run of the game was a read option where Jalen Hurts opted to keep the ball, and he was tackled in the backfield for a 2-yard loss. Way to go. And the penalties, I know that a lot of these guys, some of these guys are veterans. Lane Johnson had a holding penalty last night. I know that some of these guys are veterans. They shouldn't be getting penalties. They got penalties. And a lot of that goes back to coaching. And when we looked at that first preseason game, the first time we ever got a little appetizer to what Nick Sirianni was going to be doing as a head coach in this National Football League, it was a clean game. We're like, oh, clean half by the starters. The starters that played, at least. Clean half. Oh, it means they're well coached. That means they're running a tight ship over there. Now, not so much. It is egregious what is going on with this football team. And the fact that it was Monday night heightens that. The fact that it was against the Cowboys on Monday night after you wore that stupid beat Dallas shirt, and I didn't like it at the time, and I still don't like it now. And after you showed the highlights of how you're supposed to beat Dallas and this rivalry means so much, well, apparently none of that really sunk in with Nick Sirianni. Apparently that beat Dallas shirt was a lie because you went into this game ill-prepared. Ill-prepared to coach, ill-prepared to game plan, ill-prepared to call plays. Your quarterback looked like he was out of sorts. You couldn't do anything to help him out in this game. It was just an embarrassing loss. The fact that it was the Cowboys on Monday night just flat out makes it unacceptable. We got plenty of locker room sound for you when it comes to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and what they had to say after this loss. But I just stared at my TV last night, and I was dumbfounded by how they were ignoring the run. You can talk again about the abandoning the run and all that. I have never seen a head coach ignore the run. That's what happened last night, and that's far worse than any game I ever watched with Andy Reid or Doug Peterson. And I watched the game with Andy Reid where they called 19 straight pass plays in the Donovan McNabb era. And you had, 18, 19 plays in total in the first half, and after that, you decided to come out with 2 run plays out of the 18 or 19 that you ran in the first half. Unacceptable. That's the number one thing. Number one thing I said I was going to this game yesterday was looking at Nick Sirianni and say, all right, how's this guy going to bounce back? All right, he had the teaching moment, the adorable little teaching moment that he had against the San Francisco 49ers. And then this, what was he going to do in this game? How was he going to bounce back from that? Didn't bounce back. Continued to go further and further into the hole of failure. That's what happened in this particular game. So moving past the head coach, Jalen Hurts. I understand your coach didn't put you in the best possible position to win this game. How do you not just let that ball fly to Jalen Reagor down the sideline in the first quarter? How is that so drastically underthrown? Did you miss where the safety was? Because there was over-the-top safety help, and the safety was coming over in that situation. You throw that ball to the corner of the end zone, that's a touchdown. Like, these guys have practiced together. You would never know by watching that play that these guys had practiced together. It was awful. The interception to Devontae Smith, where Devontae Smith falls down and they get the shot on the sideline. Hey, what happened? Jalen Hurts, I'll tell you what happened. You did not take your eyes off your wide receiver. On whatever drop that was, 3-step drop, whatever it was, you did not take your eyes off the wide receiver. Diggs jumped that route because he read your eyes. Devontae Smith fell down on it, but even if you see where he falls down and you see where that ball ended up, I don't know if that even would have mattered. It would not have been a completion, I can tell you that much. But as a quarterback in the NFL, you can't drop back with your eyes on the target the entire time. Any halfway decent corner, safety, defensive back in general is going to jump that route and do exactly what Diggs did on that play. You cannot do that in a game, and that's exactly what he did. There were missed throws. There were a couple of different opportunities there for Devontae Smith to try to make a big play for you. He had a ball knocked out of his hands that he had right there out in front. Kids, that's how you catch the football, out in front of your body. You don't bring it into the pads, out in front of your body. But if you're going to do that, Better be strong enough to be able to withstand a little blow there from a defensive back. He wasn't able to do it. I saw Jimmy Kempski, a friend of the show, Jimmy Kempski, actually put this out on Twitter yesterday. And I was watching the game, and I went back to watch this play because of what Jimmy said. Yeah, it's just, that throw is also a little bit on Jalen Hurts because he did not lead the receiver in that throw or on that play. Still, if the ball's in your hands and you're a receiver in the NFL, that's got to be a catch. I know he's a rookie. I know he's not known for his strength and all that, but that's a play that he's got to make. You look at the defensive side of things. I had said also that I'm also going to be looking at how this team is going to respond to not having Brandon Graham on that defensive line. And yesterday, they got you a touchdown. Were there situations where they were just running Ezekiel Elliott down your throat? There certainly were. Linebackers needed to come up and make a big play for you. That didn't happen yesterday. But defensive line-wise, Josh Sweat made you a play yesterday. Javon Hargrave made you a play yesterday by getting the pressure on Dak Prescott in the end zone to make it a 7-7 game and actually give you a little bit of a fighter's chance for a little bit longer than maybe some people anticipated in this game. Fletcher Cox came up with the touchdown. So your defensive line basically got you a touchdown. You're okay in my book. Filling in for Brandon Graham, you did all right as far as that went. Everything else was just shot to hell from this game, really from the start. There was a play with Kayvon Wallace. He had to leave. Marcus Epps came in, filled in, made a great play, and then drew a penalty. Or called for a penalty. So there was a couple of different plays where you thought, all right, this guy's going to step up and make some plays for you. He did not. He ended up getting penalties, just like Derek Barnett was getting penalties. And even at one point, you saw a shot of Nick Sirianni on the sideline. Looked like he was yelling into his headset, maybe at Jonathan Gannon, or I don't know, maybe somebody upstairs, just saying it's always Barnett. It's always him with the penalty. And that's certainly what it seems like, even though you can talk about 13 other people. They got penalties last night for the Eagles, which is just atrocious. There is no good vibe. Like, when you turn a game off and you think to yourself, Eagles have a good punter. If that's the first positive thought that comes to mind, that's a problem. And this entire game was a problem. And I am not a jump off the bandwagon type person. I'm not doing that when it comes to the Eagles. And I don't think anyone in Philadelphia is jumping off this bandwagon onto another one. But if you don't have legit concern right now about Nick Sirianni, I want a dose of whatever it is you're on. I want a heavy dose of it. Because I don't know how you could watch that game last night and think, oh, no, this guy's got it. And now the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town. You got the Panthers who are playing good football. You're going to be taking that off. Like, there's a tough stretch of games here for the Philadelphia Eagles that is only going to put them in a deeper, darker hole and make us feel like when do pitchers and catchers report? Like Nick Sirianni, you know what he might be doing right now? He might be like re-energizing my willingness to think the Phillies are going to make the playoffs. Like that's what I need right now. We got stuff we'll get to maybe a little bit later when it comes to the Sixers press conferences and all that, but that'll probably go to tomorrow after all this stuff that we had to watch go in front of us in Dallas on Monday night, last night. Just absolutely atrocious. We're going to be getting to some of your fine comments here today. As we like to do after a football game, we don't do a guest, so it's just me and you, and I can vent my frustration. I can rattle off some of the things that you guys have going on here. I have never watched a game like that. There have certainly been games where I have said, okay, guys, let's go back to the run. The most recent example of that is week 2. Now, here, you want optimism? Here's optimism. Week 2 of 2017. Remember that game against Kansas City Chiefs? I believe the Eagles ran the ball one time in the second half under Doug Peterson, and everybody to a man in the locker room after the game. They came out. They were asked about what the problem was, and I remember Zach Ertz. For whatever reason, I just remember Zach Ertz more than anybody else. We need to balance the attack. And like the look on his face was he was so disappointed. Like he was a defeated man, and not just on the football field, but like in his soul because they didn't run the football. And after that, I remember there was that players meeting with the coach, and they pulled him aside. They said, we got to balance this attack. We got to balance the attack. They balanced the attack and won the Super Bowl. Now, is it the only reason they won the Super Bowl? Of course not. But it certainly helped. Because anytime you're a defense and you're not sure what's coming up on the other side, what's going to happen, what the offense is going to do, guess what? You're at a disadvantage. But if you're in the defense and you realize that every single time they're going to pass the ball, as my microphone freaks out, every single time they're going to pass the ball, then guess what? You can jump that. You can attack that. You can not worry about them running past a blitz, for instance, because they're not going to be running the ball. So to me, every single time you're lining up as a defender and you know that, let's see, every 17 plays they're going to run the ball, oh, have at it. Get after the quarterback. See if he can get rid of that football before you get to him. It's a fun game to play. Wish the Eagles would play it. Didn't get a chance to play that yesterday. As you might assume, Nick Sirianni was addressing the media after the game. We'll let you hear from him. And Jalen Hurts, this is now 2 weeks in a row where I've gotten a vibe that Jalen Hurts isn't too pleased with his head coach. And look, Jalen Hurts has no room here to escape any of the blame. And he played the whole, this is my fault, not Nick Sirianni's fault. Nick Sirianni played it's my fault, it's not anybody else's fault. I'm the head coach, I need to improve. And kudos to you guys. You guys played the blame me game. It's kind of like the blame game, only you just blame yourself. And, of course, that's going to happen. But listening to and watching Nick Sirianni last night and listening to and watching Jalen Hurts last night after the game, I have to put more blame on Nick Sirianni than anything in this particular game. But listening to Jalen Hurts, he wanted to take full responsibility. He stopped a little short of I need to take full responsibility, but certainly he said, quite frankly, that he put it all on himself. We'll get to those comments made in the post-game press conferences coming up in just a second. But right now, I want to tell you about my friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Do what I do, folks. Head to Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers for all your big jewelry purchases. Whether that's a beautiful diamond engagement ring, whether that's just a beautiful piece of jewelry, earrings, tennis bracelet, necklace, whatever it might be, Steven Singer is where you need to go. Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Maybe even at IHateStevenSinger.com for fast and free shipping. If you are ready to get engaged and you know what, you're not sure what you want, they really couldn't make it easier for you. Ready for Love diamond engagement rings at the ready for you. Walk in, check them out. I like that one. Boom, done. Or you could peruse their more vast, beautiful, gorgeous, sparkling inventory. And also know this, that when you walk into Steven Singer Jewelers, you get the perfect price every single time. Don't have to worry about negotiating. Don't have to worry about haggling. It's not marked up wildly like some other jewelers do, just to mark it down in front of it, make you feel like you're getting some kind of deal. No. Why you don't have to worry about whether or not the person next to you is paying more or less than you. It's a very simple thing. When you don't have to negotiate, when you don't have to haggle, you can just concentrate on what you want to buy for that special someone in your life. So do what I do. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com, the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price. Before we let you hear this, I want to make sure I get this number correct. 18 offensive plays the Eagles ran in the first half. I said Miles Sanders earlier had 2 carries, and he did in the first half. 18 plays. 2 of them were a handoff to Miles Sanders. 18 plays to the Cowboys' 42. Now, the reason I highlight the first half more than the second half is because I'm not usually a bang the drum for run-to-pass ratio has to be this or that, right? If it makes sense, you throw the football. In the second half of this game, it made sense to throw the football because you were down by so much. In the first half, when you're talking about more of your game plan and what you were anticipating to do in this game, that's where you start to talk about the words like egregious. That's where you start to talk about things like wildly disappointing, ill-prepared. So when you talk about two of them rushes in the first half by a running back, your entire running backs room, 2 carries. That's not good. So Nick Sirianni, as you would assume, was asked about it after the game. Here's the way Nick Sirianni explained it.
Well, the first half, just with how that went, without getting a lot of plays, it kind of put it. Those numbers get skewed sometimes. I mean, I know they are what they are, but when you don't have that many plays in the first half, whether because you have penalties that stop drives. The defense was on the field quite a bit, and then you're in a position in the second half where we're down 2 scores the whole time. That's where that kind of that kind of comes into play. I know we were trying to get him the ball on some screens and stuff like that, but obviously he's a good playmaker, and we want him to touch the ball more. Just the way the game went, we weren't able to do that.
Two play it's almost like I'm not even mad. I'm impressed, except I am pissed off, and I'm not impressed. It's just one of those things that you just don't see happen. They had the stat for it actually yesterday, and I want to make sure I get this number right for you one more time because I saw this. Sports Center obviously goes right to a lot of the game coverage because they had the game, right? And ESPN. So last night, the ground game. Here we go. Cowboys. The ground game, Monday Night Football. Cowboys, 55% of rush percentage to the Eagles, 9%. Cowboys ran for 160 yards. This is including what your quarterback did. This isn't just running backs. 160 yards to the Eagles, 64 yards. Cowboys got 9 first downs to the Eagles 1 by way of the ground game. The 9% of run plays that the Eagles ran, fourth lowest by any team over the last 15 years. If you're Nick Sirianni, or if you're anyone surrounding Nick Sirianni, this has got to be a cut the crap. All the exterior stuff, the T-shirts, when it comes to beating Dallas, or fortunately, maybe they don't play Dallas for a while. I can't imagine him wearing a beat Kansas City shirt. But all the other stuff, all the feel good high school stuff, that goes out the window. You're 1-2 right now. You just got embarrassed, not just lost. You got embarrassed by the team you spent a week highlighting how important it was to beat. And you got embarrassed by them in prime time, Monday Night Football. There's no more high school Harry BS. There's no more of the extra stuff. You just got to concentrate on coaching, game planning, and making sure you're as prepared as possible to play the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday on a short week. So all that extra stuff, hey, that's really cute and cuddly and adorable when you're winning or when you won one game. Everything else, or you're new, oh, this guy is nice, right? It's a fresh start, whatever. Yeah, that's done. It's not time to panic if you're Nick Sirianni. I'm not asking him to panic. I'm asking him to focus, and there's a big difference. Because right now, I don't have a good vibe at all about Nick Sirianni. I feel like I'm watching a guy that's drastically in over his head. As I started the show by saying, that's the vibe I get right now from Nick Sirianni. Because after the 1st and goal from the one against San Francisco, I've just looked at this guy and said, what are you doing? And to see what took place last night with play calling, with scheme, there was one play last night, that I looked at Nick Sirianni and I said, there's a good play call. And to the execution part of all this, it was actually, it goes to what Jalen Hurts had to say about not executing. And I believe it was the rub route they ran to, I think it was Quez Watkins in the 3rd quarter of this game, where they had Zach Ertz on the outside with Quez Watkins, and Quez Watkins ran the rub route, and Zach Ertz executed it to perfection, and it just looked like Quez Watkins didn't run a wide enough loop on the rub route and only got about 8 yards out of it and didn't get what could have been about 40, it seemed like. It's maybe even a touchdown with his speed. But that was a play that I thought it didn't look nearly as pretty as when I saw Devontae Smith run it, and he executes that play rather well. This didn't look nearly as good when Quez Watkins ran it. So maybe, I don't know, try that again with a guy like Devontae Smith. Maybe like the matchup on that side of the field. I don't know. But that was actually a good play call, trying to get something going in that regard, and it didn't work out for him. But there's an awful, awful loss, and we'll get to it plenty of times. Let's see. I'm going to be getting to some of our stuff on the comment section throughout. April, God bless you. She expected me to have a much darker shirt. I did not. Morning. What's Simmons up to? Not shooting, apparently still. Good morning. Let's talk about the Phillies. Just kidding. Dak, you're hilarious. And not Dak Prescott, obviously. He doesn't watch the show to my knowledge. Morning all, not good. Can we just trash Ben Simmons today? Dan, it was so bad yesterday that I just can't even go there yet. I started out the day by watching the nearly 2 hours worth of press conferences at media day on Sixers Twitter, and I'm watching it, and I'm listening to Doc, and I'm listening to Daryl Morey, and I listen to Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid I will say his moment of, last thing, this is the only thing I'll say. His moment of, hey, Joe, what would you like to see from Ben if he comes back? Well, we all seen the videos of him shooting. That'll help. You know, that thing? That was the ultimate, this guy's not coming back. Screw this. Who gives a damn what I have to say anyway? Ben's already offended. Doesn't come. When he said the shooting videos thing, I lost it. I just laughed my ass off. And then I put like the 0.1% chance of Ben coming back to negative 50 once Joel Embiid said that. So there's that. Mally, what's up? Good morning. April again. Dan, Dak, what's happening? Mally, told y'all before the season, Sirianni was a guy playing a coach. That's kind of what it feels like right now, unfortunately. It's kind of what it feels like. All right, I want to get to these comments made by Jalen Hurts after the game. Jalen Hurts on taking full responsibility for what went down yesterday.
I feel this way after every loss, but I take responsibility for how this game went tonight. I take responsibility for that. I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to learn from it. We're going to be a better team from it. I believe that. I truly believe that. You take you a deuce, you don't sit there and look at it. You flush it and move on. We're going to flush it and move on.
What was that about? What was that about, Deuce? It's a different way to put that. I can definitely say I haven't heard that one before. So you just take a deuce, you don't sit there and look at it, you just flush it. Okay. Well, this game definitely has that in common with the deuce, and it does need to be flushed, and it does need to be not forgotten. It needs to be learned from before you can move on from it. But he does try to take responsibility for the loss. There was another point in the press conference yesterday with Jalen Hurts that, like, every once in a while something gets said. And a good example is actually, Doc Rivers saying what he said about, and even though he's trying to play the cover-up game right now, there was a part of Doc Rivers' press conference from, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, whenever it was, where he said, hey, Doc, can you win with Ben Simmons? I don't know. And then, what? I'm sorry, what was that? And then Jalen Hurts had a moment of that as well. This is Jalen Hurts when he was asked about Miles Sanders only getting 2 carries throughout this game. 2 carries. Jalen Hurts asked about his running back, Miles Sanders, only getting 2 carries.
Because of it.
So what was kind of going on? Like, Miles didn't carry the ball at all until like midway through the second quarter. I mean, I guess 8 of your first 9 plays were passes. I mean, did you want to run more?
It seems like he didn't get those touches. He didn't get those touches. He didn't get them. Regardless of what we do, execute the play. And I didn't do that. Would you
like to see him get more touches, Miles?
I like to see us execute. I like to see me play better. That's something that I can control. That's the best way I can put it throughout all of this. Got to fly back. We're gonna sit on it. We're gonna eat on. We're gonna deal with it and take it. And I'll learn from it. This one's on me.
In the game plan to have you to drop, it seemed like Nick was saying, to have you drop a lot and survey the field and throw to balls down the field. Was that the game plan? And also, were there any plays that were designed to play actions to roll you out? Were those part of the game plan as well?
Play calling was not an issue in this game. Play calling was not an issue in this game. I was the issue in this game.
Cut out there for a second there. I can't help but think when he is asked about the game plan and he's asked about Miles Sanders not getting the touches, and he just says, he didn't get those touches. He didn't get those touches. And then he obviously goes on to say, this wasn't game plan. This wasn't play calling. This is me and all that. If you're a quarterback and you know what you're playing behind on your offensive line, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you would like to maybe not have the ball in your hands every single play, and maybe you could just do a handoff. Here's the ball. You do something with it instead of putting everything on your quarterback. Like, I know they've made this point so many times. Jalen Hurts was starting a seventh game in the NFL right now, so he's like a rookie, right? He's like a rookie. Nick Sirianni knows that, right? He's not some seasoned veteran that can overcome everything. As much as I'd love to see that happen, and I even put him number 2 on my list of people I was watching in this game in terms of, all right, you know what? They're not supposed to win this game. I even said it on Fox yesterday. They're not supposed to win this game, but they will win this game. You know why? Because Jalen Hurts is going to be the coming out party of Jalen Hurts. That's what I want to see from him. Nick Sirianni's got to put his quarterback in that good position to win the game, best possible position to win the game. Nick Sirianni certainly didn't do that. Didn't help his quarterback out at all. And it's not your typical, oh, you got to run the pass ratio. You got to do that. It's different because when the Cowboys came out and had a nice long drive and were able to score and had a big play and your defense was able to stick them at the goal line there early in the game, it's a little bit different because you needed to make sure that their offense stayed off the field. You needed to make sure that your defense stayed off the field so you get a damn breather. And you also needed to know that you were missing 2 of your offensive linemen. So why would you ask Landon Dickerson to pass block more? And why would you ask Andre Dillard to pass block more instead of just giving them the thud and done of a run play? Now, the majority of offensive linemen that I've spoken to over the years all prefer run blocking to pass blocking for that simple reason. It's a thud and done. Take a break. John Runyon used to talk about it when in the Andy Reid era. Yeah, it's easier to run block so you can just make the hit and then you're done as opposed to holding the pass block. Trey Thomas, my old partner, my buddy, he loved pass blocking. You know why? Probably because he was great at both and it didn't matter. That's how you get in the Eagles Ring of Honor. But that game yesterday, when you have a rookie starting out as your right guard, a guy without a lot of experience as your left tackle starting out that game, how do you not base your offense on running the football? Especially when you see your defense out there for as long as it was, especially when you see your defense getting beat up when they're out there for as long as they were. You run the ball. This is what was scary. Speaking with John McMullen from the stadium yesterday, who was down there in Dallas, obviously, he said that a lot of the RPOs and the RPO offense, obviously sounds redundant. That's where the runs are going to come from. To me, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you shouldn't leave the option there for the quarterback if the objective is to spell your running back. It's to give him a break. It's to give your offensive line a break. None of that makes sense. If you're the head coach of this team and you're the play caller of the Philadelphia Eagles, you know what that means? Maybe you should actually give your quarterback that break in your offensive line instead of saying, oh, maybe this is where they'll get the break. It's just beyond me. So now you're also giving your quarterback 2 things to do as opposed to 1 thing to do on every play. Because no matter what, even on the read option, he's still got to make the decision as whether to keep that ball in the stomach of his running back or pull it back and make the throw. He's only reading half the field, so that, I guess, helps him out a little bit. But in the long run, why don't you just, when you see the original game plan isn't working, how do you not even default to a run game? And all that's a rookie head coach and a rookie play caller, more importantly. Because when you talk about a guy as a head coach, you're talking about a guy trying to motivate guys. You're talking about a guy trying to put in a good game plan. But when you're talking about a guy who's calling plays and he sees the plays aren't working and he makes no changes, no adjustments after that, that's where the concern really starts, because that's where a guy starts to really look in over his head. And I can't help but to think, looking at him last night, he looked like he was way in over his head. I know there was frustration on the sidelines. You could see him yelling when he had to throw the challenge flag for the big play down the sideline that the Cowboys did not reel in, and he was definitely pissed off at that. But hey, look, it was an easy challenge to win. 1 foot was down. He was out of bounds. But you could see the frustration boiling over on the sidelines yesterday. It was a couple of different scenarios. One was the penalties, obviously, Derek Barnett being one of them, as I mentioned earlier. The other was the fact that you just couldn't get anything going offensively. I mean, 21 points, 7 of them were scored by your defense. The self-evaluating, I know Nick Sirianni always says he likes to look at it. Every coach says he needs to look at the tape and see how they did. This is another scenario where you're not going to be too happy where you're looking at the tape. But I don't know how you need to watch anything when you see a run-to-pass ratio of 16 to 2 at halftime. It's baffling. It's baffling, and it's wildly concerning. By the way, all that locker room sound was courtesy of the great people of Rothman Orthopaedics. Rothman Orthopaedics, they are just fantastic. If your knee gave out, maybe you tweaked your back or you popped your shoulder, and now you can't do what you used to do, well, that's just part of getting older, right? Wrong. With the Rothman approach to orthopedics, they're here to get you back to being you, back to running, walking, working, and playing, back to living your life the way you want. With same-day appointments available, you can start today at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com, official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. Speaking of which, it doesn't help too much that Isaac Seumalo has a foot injury. We'll see how long he's going to be missing. He'll probably get the MRI today back in Philadelphia. So we'll see how that goes as the Eagles were down to, two of their starting offensive linemen, Lane Johnson and Jason Kelce. Other than that, it was from left to right. See if I do this. You had Andre Dillard, Nate Herbig, Jason Kelce, Landon Dickerson, and Lane Johnson. Good times. So we'll see how Isaac Seumalo checks out later today. How about BetQL? Oh, if you want to take advantage of all the good bets and you want to get the advantage over your sportsbook, you need BetQL, the only app you'll need to make the smart bets. The Best Bets computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports, and it gives you reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, and player prop bets as well. You don't want to use their model and prefer to do your own research? BetQL has all the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news. They even have a leaderboard so you can track your own success. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store now and download the BetQL app. Friday, headed down to Maryland, which means I'll be stopping at Steak and Maine. You can check it out for yourself at steakandmaine.com. In the heart of Northeast Maryland, whether you're down in a more upscale steakhouse, casual bar, and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that and an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. From their table to your table, from their family to your table, basically. Enjoy the nice tomahawk to 2-pound tomahawk steak with a nice Pinot Noir from Cavada Cellars wines. Fantastic. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself. Go to steakandmaine.com for more information. WinView, don't need to tell you, big series starts tonight. It's the playoffs already as far as I'm concerned, except it's not the playoffs because the Phillies don't make the playoffs. But closest thing we've had to the playoffs in a long time. You need to check out all of the things that WinView is offering. I don't need to tell you how big the series is with the Phillies and the Braves. This could very well decide the season. So if you want to make the action even more interesting, WinView app is the app for you. You can play pregame contests where you answer questions before the game or play along live, unlike any other app out there. Right now, there's a progressive jackpot promotion above $3,000 with WinView. All you need to do is make 10 correct predictions in those Phillies-Braves pregame contests, and you'll win a share of the jackpot. This isn't daily fantasy. It isn't a sports book. Just questions about the Phillies. Get the app right now. Go to winview.tv/Farzy. That's WinView, WINVIEW, winview.tv/Farzy. So make sure you take advantage of all they have to offer on the WinView app. And make sure you're following everything across all social media platforms and blogs at PHL Sports Nation. That's Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. All right, officially, let's get into our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. Hit up a couple of you guys already in the chat here. April, Mally, I'm so jealous I stayed up till the end. April, good on you. I know it was your birthday recently. I'm sorry the Eagles had to rain on your birthday week. I'm sorry. I wish I could have done something to help. I tried, but it didn't help out. Dak, is Nick still fist bumping the media? I don't think so. I think those days are long gone. Dan, I disagree. It's similar, but I can't pound middle of the line. What happened here? I don't even want to. I'm not mixing Ben Simmons and the. I'm proud of myself. Because I started tweeting something last night, and I went, "No, you put your phone down, young man." And I put my phone down. I was going to tweet that Nick. Here I am. I didn't tweet it last night, but I'm going to tell you right now. This is just in my own idiot brain, and now it'll be out there for everybody. I was like literally looking at Nick Sirianni calling run plays, and it was like the same look that Ben Simmons has on his face when he has to go to the free throw line. They don't want to do it. They're being forced into it. Ian, a joke of a game. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Ian, hashtag bring back Carson. Oh my God. Jack is saying, you drinking early, Ian? Mally is saying Carson's struggling just as bad. That is true. But here's the deal. As long as Carson plays, we Gucci. What else do we have? Don't love Jalen. Evan saying don't love Jalen. Here's the thing. I have a lot more confidence in Jalen Hurts bouncing back than I do Nick Sirianni bouncing back as a play caller. Because what I have seen since that 91-yard bomb to Quez Watkins against San Francisco 49ers, like, since then, it's been bad. It's been really, really bad with Nick Sirianni. It's been dreadful. I just, up until they play on Sunday, and then probably right after that, because it's the Chiefs, and the Chiefs have lost 2 in a row, and I don't think the Chiefs are going to take any sass from Nick Sirianni. But after that pass from Quez Watkins, like, that was the last time we felt good about the Eagles' offense. Was Jalen Hurts standing 5 feet in his own end zone, bomb to Quez Watkins, 91 yards. If that was a touchdown, maybe we're feeling a little bit different. If the pass in that game to Jalen Reagor stood as a touchdown reception, but without him stepping out of bounds, maybe we feel a little bit different. But we don't. That's not what happened. This is the bed the Eagles have made. Now we're all lying and going, what the hell? When can I get up and go home? That's kind of how it feels right now. But again, I have more confidence in Jalen Hurts bouncing back than I do Nick Sirianni as a play caller. Doug used to play quarterback. He told me 100 times in different press conferences. I just wanted to remember. Doug did play quarterback. I played in this league. I'm good. Hannah. Hi, Hannah. She agrees with you, Dan. Evan's back. We got another girl in here. We do have another girl in the chat. There we go. Congratulations, guys. April, hallelujah. Another lady. Welcome. Hannah and April, welcome. April, I don't need to tell you. You're just welcome. You're here all the time. Hannah, welcome aboard. Nice to have you in. Hannah, yes, I am another girl. I usually listen to Spotify episode, but I'm up early. Is this the famous April? Oh, wait. Is the famous April here? There you go. Look at you guys. Look at you. Look at you. Ian's back. We'll have a good crew of misery here. That's true. Inside the Birds, tough game. That game sucked. Lincoln Hawk, I feel like that's a reference to something. We all know Marc is really Nick Sirianni. I am fighting every being because I don't like. I can say that I think he's in over his head, and that's my opinion. But if this really starts to spiral out of control, I guarantee you I'm going to throw on a visor and I'm going to get in front of a mirror and I'm going to do Nick Sirianni as Stuart Smalley. I'm good enough. I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Like, I feel like that bit is just, it's there for the taking. And I feel like, you know what, in a couple of weeks, maybe even after this week against the Chiefs, if the Eagles drop to 1-3, which they're going to drop to 1-3, then you know what? Then maybe, just maybe, that bit needs to happen. Just wanted to have same. Let's see. Man, the chat is just popping today, as one might assume after a game like this. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody here. Back to the ladies saying hello to each other. Marc's in. Marc's got the vomit emoji. I'm with you there. Alex, is it normal for a 40-year-old man to just have a terrible day at work today, all because 24-year-old kid couldn't lead the offense. I look, asking for a friend, Alex. I don't disagree. Neither one of them played well, but in all honesty, let's put this out there, because maybe we can just examine this throughout the day. Who had a worse game yesterday, Nick Sirianni or Jalen Hurts? I don't even think it's close. And as I started the show out, me blaming the head coach more in a game where your quarterback threw 2 interceptions. One was a horribly thrown attempt at a deep ball. The other was a pick six. For that to happen in this game and me to still look at the head coach means that head coach is pretty damn terrible. And he certainly was yesterday. Hannah, April, you're a 40-year-old man. I thought we had a girl power connection. Let's see. Ray is checking in. He's going to say that because he wants to keep his starting job. Get him alone, and he's not thinking that. Okay, Ray, I'm glad you see this, because just as there's coach speak, there's players speak. When Nick Sirianni called the Philly-esque play at the goal line against San Francisco, and we played the cut for you guys last week, where Jalen Hurts was talking about how he was the target on that play, and we even had Hugh Douglas try to break it down for us, saying, "Hey, what the hell, man? What happened on that?" And Hugh Douglas was like, "Oh yeah, you know what that was? That was player speak. That was how a player was trying to not voice his frustration about the play call. He wants to be throwing that ball. He doesn't want to be the only option to throw the ball to in the corner of the end zone, especially when the play is as broken down as that was." So just as there's coach speak, there's also player speak. Jalen Hurts last night as well was giving you player speak. When he was asked about Miles Sanders not getting touches, and he goes, "Yeah, he didn't get those touches. He didn't get those touches." What the hell else could that mean? It means give the man some touches. He's pretty damn good at football. Let him run the ball. Mally says he hears you, Hannah, and he's got weed to help. There we go. You know what? Look at us. We're all helping each other. Dan, last night's game was the humor. Pre-show was the Sixers presser. Sad. Mike is saying, how are they this bad? And by they, I mean every team in Philadelphia. Oh, wait, hold on. Mally, are you spitting game at Hannah? Look at you. See, you know what? If a girl comes into the party, man, we gotta let her explore the space. We can't just jump. You know, hey, you know what? You're an opportunist. There you go. You can't just try to jump to the assertion or make the assertion. Oh, maybe she's here to party. No, she's here just for fun, But you know what, Hannah? I don't want to speak for you. You do you. Every team in Philly. Yep, so I see that. Mike. All right, now it's the dating game. The chat is now the dating game. Philadelphia sports are in trouble. There isn't one team that's close to getting into a championship game in the next few years. Ray, you're not wrong. That's how it feels, unfortunately. Yeah. Hey, you know what, Mike? There you go. There's a good attitude. Maybe Carter Hart has an amazing breakout year. Maybe he carries the Flyers. Maybe they're doing something special. You never know in hockey. April says, at this rate, Friday's show will be from a basement with emo Marc. It's quite possible. Mally, Hannah, I respect your marriage. Oh, Hannah's married. That's nice. Okay. April, the GOAT, staying up for it. Mac, yes, that is true. Dan wants to know, Marc, which Rocky was this game supposed to be? Just remember Sirianni equating bullcrap to Rocky. Rocky was the moose, right? And then Bullwinkle was the beaver or whatever the hell that was. That was that Rocky. This wasn't anything Rocky Balboa. This is a totally different Rocky. So that's the way I'll try to justify it in my stupid head. Thanks for listening, and thanks for commenting, everybody. Appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. As far as all those comments go. Morning Rush segment today. Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. It does go back to the way this game started. And this is probably going to be the fastest way to knowing that you're going to watch a really, really bad football game, at least for your team. I wrote down the lives I lost during this game. Like a cat, you might have 9 lives, right? You've heard about that? Well, here's how this goes. He was a squirrel. Bullwinkle was a squirrel. Barely watched. Thank you, April. Here we go. April on top. April, you know what? You stay up to watch the game and you still go with squirrel, Bullwinkle. You knew that right away. Here's how I knew I was going to be losing a lot of lives throughout this game. First off, they go up 7-0. Hurts interception. Dak fumbles. Doesn't score the touchdown. So that first off, let me backtrack for a second. There's a lot of things going around in my head when it comes to how this game started. Game starts out, kicking off to Dallas. They score a touchdown. They get a 44-yard pass to CD Lamb, sets up the touchdown. Then the next thing you know, Ezekiel Elliott scores a touchdown. That's called off the board. Dak Prescott scores a touchdown. That's actually, he doesn't score the touchdown, but it's reviewed. He did not cross the plane. You had a fumble recovery in the end zone for a touchdown. Interception from Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Jalen Hurts scrambling in the back of the end zone. Yeah, Jalen Hurts throwing to Zach Ertz, who tipped the ball up in the air. It was almost intercepted by the Dallas Cowboys. All that happened. And I looked down at the clock, and there was still 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. That's how I knew yesterday's game was going to be terrible. When I saw all that go down, and it wasn't even, you weren't even out of the first quarter yet. And after one quarter of play, you only had one run by your running back. Oh, my God. That's how I knew we were all in for a very, 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 very long night. Throughout the day, I don't know if we've thrown it out already, but we will have some fun. And we'll have fun in terms of who do you blame more for this loss and who had the worst game of the two. Was it Nick Sirianni or was it Jalen Hurts? To me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I know this is going to be close for some people, but for me, it's not. It's Nick Sirianni all the way. We did identify some things yesterday as part of the Farzy 5 as what I was going to be looking for in the game. Nick Sirianni failed. He was number 1. Jalen Hurts failed. He was number 2. Those two, a lot of it goes hand in hand, but if it comes to one or the other more, I still go Nick Sirianni more. After that, it was Landon Dickerson. It was Andre Dillard. How are they going to fill in the offensive line? Andre Dillard, I think, actually did not have a terrible game. There were a few plays that were terrible, but not overall did not have a terrible game. Landon Dickerson struggled mightily in the first half, more so than the second half. Second half, I thought he settled in okay, but the first half, not so much. Lane Johnson, we talked to him on the postgame show last night. He said the same thing, that he got better as the game went on. He certainly improved from his last week's opportunity against the San Francisco 49ers. He also had a really weird mustache that kind of freaked me out, but hey, that's what he chose to rock out for this game in his first NFL start, so good for him. But he got away with a really bad holding call, got blown up on a sack of Jalen Hurts. So those are a couple of things that I know that he'd like to have back, and hopefully we'll have the mustache back for the Kansas City game coming up on Sunday. The other thing where I was going to look at, as I mentioned earlier, was the committee that was filling in for Brandon Graham. Josh Sweat actually came up, made a pretty nice play for you, got a sack. He did a thing, as I said on Twitter yesterday. Overall, the defensive line, when it came to getting after the quarterback, applied pressure. They got the touchdown. But you did allow 94 yards, I believe it was, to Ezekiel Elliott. Tony Pollard continued the decent season that he's being able to put together in the early goings of this. But Ezekiel Elliott, certainly, as they even pointed out in the broadcast, heard the chatter of people saying, oh, he's losing snaps to Tony Pollard now. Oh, you better watch out there, Ezekiel Elliott. He was on a mission last night, and he certainly looked like it. In defensive line, when it came to the run game, wasn't on top of their game. They didn't get a lot of help from the linebacking core either. But overall, I thought the defensive line was okay in terms of attempting to set the edge without Brandon Graham being there. There was a couple of plays that I looked at last night and said, right there, that's where BG would be up there making the play, where at least be turning the running back inside between the tackles. There were a couple of plays where you saw that last night, and there were a couple of plays that you really missed Brandon Graham. Last night, I thought Josh Sweat was a good first step without Brandon Graham, and we'll see what the chart is later today in terms of plays with assignments. As a matter of fact, it is up right now. They just loaded it up. We can look at Josh Sweat up to only 64% of the defensive snaps, but that's up more from last year. Interesting. Fletcher Cox, 57% of the snaps. He did have an injury in this game as well. Anthony Harris, the only one that played all defensive snaps at free safety. Right after that, Darius Slay, Steven Nelson at 99% of the snaps. Obviously, you're starting corners for the Eagles. Miles Sanders out there for 60% of the snaps, as I'm looking at the snap count right now. If I have to say one nice thing, about Nick Sirianni, it's that you actually worked in your tight ends a little bit in this game. Not as much as I still would have liked in the first half, but in the second half, you started to see them a little bit more. I feel like the most simple, stupid the method needs to be applied to this Eagles team going forward. And that's run the football. You're not going to have an offensive line healthy enough to justify passing a football 60 times in a game. If only by default, how do you not run the ball going forward? Landon Dickerson in there for don't know how long. Andre Dillard in there for don't know how long. Isaac Seumalo, we'll see what his injury is, see how long he's out, see how long Nate Herbig has to play. If you mean to tell me you're going forward with a pass-happy offense behind three backup offensive linemen, three offensive linemen that do not have a lot of experience at the NFL level, then you are dooming yourself to failure. You are giving your team no chance. And I know the way the NFL is played, this is nothing new that it's a pass-happy league. But, man, if Nick Sirianni is really all about coaching to what you have and not square peg, round holing an offense with your offensive players into whatever your scheme is, then this is the stretch to prove it. Because right now, you don't have the offensive line to justify 60 passes. Right now, you don't have that offensive line even a little bit. And you have a pretty good running back. You have a pretty good running back in Miles Sanders. You have a pretty good running back in Kenny Gainwell. Give him an opportunity. You want to give some young guys an opportunity? Now's the time to give a younger running back an opportunity. You want to give Jalen Hurts an opportunity? Let him ease into a game. Let him establish some kind of rhythm. You know how you do that? By letting your offensive line that hasn't played together establish some kind of rhythm, some kind of chemistry. Let that happen before you start thinking, pass. I think at some point, I think his name's Art. This guy, Art, who follows me on Twitter, sent me a picture of his son just looking confused as all hell on the sofa watching the first half of that Eagles game. And I said, he said, oh, this is my son, the expression on my son's face, and his son's maybe 3 or 4. And I said, can he call plays? Because that's kind of where that's where I'm at right now. I would just let a 4-year-old call plays, because it couldn't be any worse than what you were seeing right now from the Eagles. And it seemed like once Jalen Hurts had the opportunity to improvise a little bit and do a hurry-up and run the hurry-up offense, that's where it seemed like you started to get some momentum going here. And I wanted the Eagles to keep competing throughout the game, even after they scored 21 points. Said, just keep it coming, fellas. And it felt like for a couple of series they were able to do that. But for the long run, they weren't. Long run. That's ironic. Anyway, folks, I am happy to announce this right here at the end of the show. Guess who's joining the show tomorrow? I was holding on to it for a minute, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? Let me just tweet it out later. And I was like, no, let me tell my beautiful audience. Ladies and gentlemen, joining the show for the first time, my old partner, my dear friend, Trey Thomas, will be on the show tomorrow morning. Can't wait to talk to Trey, catch up with him. I know he's a busy man down there at IMG. We were finally able to work it out. I thought to myself, you know what? It's a Dallas Cowboy game. We're going to be reacting to that. We're going to be going into the Kansas City Chiefs game. We already got 2 new starters on the offensive line. Who better to talk to than the great Trey Thomas himself? He'll be on the show tomorrow. Can't wait to speak to him and get his take on all things Eagles offensive line, and also going into the Eagles Ring of Honor. That's pretty awesome as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And if you stayed up for that game last night, God bless you. You're one hell of a fan. I'll tell you that much. Jim Hyden produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. I also look forward to hitting you guys up with some of that fine Sixers conversation from yesterday, as well as whatever Nick Sirianni has to say today about this embarrassing Eagles Monday night loss. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Marc Farzetta from the Steven Singer Studios. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya.